This user says, if you look it up, it literally says, and she quotes, the first cowboys lived in Mexico and the Caribbean, and most of them were black. First of all, we're talking about country music and its origins. That has nothing to do with cowboys. That's literally just stereotypical Americana. It has nothing to do with one or the other. Second, the first cowboys were the vaqueros. And yes, they included Africans, Mexicans, Native Americans, and Spanish men. But if you read beyond that, it says the vaquero way of life started in a European country called Spain in the 1500s, which checks out. You know, the same country famous for the running of the bulls? A brief little history of the running of the bulls. The event has its origins in the old practice of transporting bulls from the fields outside the city where they were bred to the bull ring where they would be killed and slaughtered. And this is a tradition that exists to this day, but mostly as a tourist trap. This is also where we get bullfighting, which, yeah, is most common in Latin America. So, yeah, there were a lot of black cowboys, but the first ones were Spanish. There's a reason much of the Americas, especially Latin America, has such a beef-centric culture. But cattle are not indigenous to the Americas. They were introduced by, once again, the Spanish and the Portuguese. Pretty much all of the Iberian Peninsula is obsessed with beef and cows, and that includes parts of southern France. In fact, Brazil, which was a Portuguese colony, has the second largest export of beef next to the US. So yeah, if the first cowboys were Spanish vaqueros, where did black people come into all this? That's because the Spanish were the first to introduce African slaves to the New World, and many of them were forced to work as ranch hands. So yeah, there were a lot of black cowboys before there were white cowboys. So while it is true that black people did make up a large percentage of cowboys, those that were cowboys were usually slaves. So yeah, being a cowboy was hard work and dirty work. Not a lot of people were lining up to do it. So how did white and Hispanic settlers solve the problem of getting people to work when nobody wanted the job? So yeah, the first cowboys in America were Spanish, not black. It just so happens that those Spanish cowboys would go on to purchase black slaves and force them to work the land. And once again, the origins of cowboys have absolutely nothing to do with the origins of country music. But there is one rather insignificant link between the two, and that is the fact that the guitar was invented in Spain. So yeah, the only real link between country music and cowboys is that both cattle and the guitar were brought over by the Spanish. Other than that, early cowboys and early country music have nothing to do with each other.